guys, it's Nick here with What Game Now, and this is the last video I'm going to do, for at least for now, on the Games Workshop's preview. And the reason why I waited to do this one is, well, they showed off with some new models, and in addition to those new models, they put up a new website. And when they put the website up, the people who do really good with IT got their hands on it and did some data mining, and found some things I think you might find interesting. So we're going to go ahead and go through those and talk about those. Alright, so first things first, this is something they actually showed. This is what they call an assault intercessor. For those of you who are not in the lingo with Space Marine terms, an intercessor is the Primaris, basically generic infantry squad. It's their rifleman squad. And one thing that the people who play Primaris Space Marines have been asking is for a close combat unit. Now, I don't think this completely fills what they were asking for, but Games Workshop has given them a close combat unit, and they showed this off. And I like this model. I think it's pretty good. There's a lot to it. There's a lot to like. It's fairly simple, so there's not too much to ask there. You've got a pistol, and it's reasonably well detailed. For example, you'll note the holster's empty. He's got his pistol in his hand. The weapons look to actually be molded around the hands appear to be molded around the weapons, not just having the weapons stuck on and using CAD assets or something like that. Pretty decent weathering on the legs. There's a little bitty mistake there on the painting. I see all these things at a massive scale, but on the whole, I like the look of the model. Interesting note here. Note the icon on the left hip plate. So the Marine's left, so it'll be your right side. That kind of almost daggery shape. That's new. We have no idea what that is. So this is some of the data mining that came out. So what happened was they data mined the website and they found two images. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through these images. Some other stuff has come out too that you might find interesting. We're going to go through them item by item. But this came out, and this is one of the two images. There's another image we'll get to in a moment. And I want to talk about this image for a second here, and I want to point out a few things. First off, if we do a quick head count on models here, it's 10 generic infantry. So the center right is the assault squad. There are, it appears to be 11 models on 40 mil bases and 3 bikes. There's a suggestion going around, and now that I've really looked at the image, I'm going to point out a few things to you that I think might indicate that this is actually a new box set. Now, why would we say that? Why would we say this is suggest that this is a new box set? Well, allow me to point you to a couple of things. So, let me flip it up here. Oops, sorry. Get a hold of everything here. So, if you look at the assault squad, I want to call your attention to the Marine in the center of the image, left of the assault squad. He's just to the right of the guy in black in the middle. Look familiar? Okay. So, give me a pointer back here. So, this guy right here. Look at this guy. That's the same sculpt. This guy here is the same as this guy here. And what's noteworthy is looking at the bases are different. Now, why would that be significant? Indicates that it's not photoshopped. Games Workshop has in the past photoshopped images of models multiple times to make it look like there's more than there actually is. What's interesting is because the bases are different actually suggests that these are different models. Okay? And we can play this game. So, for example, this Space Marine right here, this guy right here, this guy and this guy look the same, which leaves these two. Now, if you look at them, look at the leg pose. They look very similar. Now, granted, a lot of the Marines are in that pose. Also note, I think I see a plasma pistol there. So I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, we might be looking at a box set here because those look like easy build Marines. Anyway, if we keep going with our images here, we have this. So this is an image of renders of the squad, and you'll notice that they match up with the squad elements in this picture here. You can find in this image all the Marines appear. Now the one that looks different, and I will point out, is the squad leader right here. Notice how he's got some hair in the middle, kind of like a mohawk. Don't see it on this guy, so there might be alternate head options, but the pose is exactly identical. Now, one of two things has happened here. Either GW's gotten really lazy on us and made a box set that can only be built one way, or that is an easy build kit, maybe with a spare head in it. Okay. So that's the Assault Intercessors. I already scrolled ahead a little bit to the next image, but then there's this guy. So you can see him in the original image. He's right here. The helmet stripe tells us this is a lieutenant. That's the white with a red center. Interesting things to note about him: storm shield and what appears to be a Volkite weapon. That might be Volkite too, but this definitely looks like a Volkite weapon. The reason this is significant is the storm shield is new to Primaris. No Primaris character has ever had one of these before, and there's 5 of them in that image. Sword indicates close combat potential, and the Volkite's interesting because it's usually reserved as a Horus Heresy era weapon that has been long lost to humanity. Now, Primaris getting their hands on it isn't too surprising because they have a lot of that older stuff, or at least had access to it. But that's very interesting. So I think we're looking at a new lieutenant here. I do want to point out in the background here, these are just generic intercessors and what looks like a generic repulsor. So lieutenant, and if you look at him, there's a squad next to him. Next image here. You can see, based off the visual look here, these are the same core model. This guy's a lieutenant in different rank, but these guys look like the same type of troop. And this is fairly normal. Lieutenants, if you look at Primaris lieutenants, tend to match up with a squad type. Okay, there's a Reaver lieutenant, there's an Incursor lieutenant. So the fact that there's a lieutenant and a squad type that almost matches it isn't abnormal. Noteworthy here, they have storm shields. They have white helmets, indicates veteran status. Storm shield swords, much like the lieutenant. What confuses me is this little halo thing. Usually when you see that in 40k, that indicates what's called an iron halo, which in terms of game mechanics would be meaningless with the storm shield, so we're a little unsure about that. But, you know, looking at this, you got this guy who's obviously a lieutenant because of the helm marking, and then you've got these guys. It looks like a new squad type. Next up, there's some bikes in the image, so you can see them here in the bottom. I found the 3D renders of these. These are, by the way, all of these images are pulled from Games Workshop website or have been floating around the internet. I do not know their exact sources, but they're very obviously correct just by looking at the models here. So the bikes are interesting. They're very chunky. They're not hover bikes, which was a little surprising. I kind of expected Primaris to get hover bikes. Cosmically noteworthy things about them, they have a close combat weapon, which is kind of significant because the way bikes work in 40k is it usually ups your toughness, up your wounds, and then now you're giving them an extra attack. Means that this might make a respectable close combat unit. I don't see any options for pistols or weapons on the bikes, so that suggests to me they're just using whatever weapons these are. Exactly what they would want to be, auto bolters would be kind of nice. I could also see bolt rifles. You never know. But hey, I like what we're looking at here, and I'm sorry, I've been remiss. I haven't done the model commentary. The Assault Intercessors, they're generic. They look fine. This guy, somebody pointed online, I can't unsee it. If you play the Space Marine game, this guy looks like Sidonus. He's one of the characters in that. They're intercessors with pistols and close combat weapons. There's not much to say here. I do like the little forearm detail here. Not sure what that's indicating, but I quite like it. Just a little bit of flair. And the different shoulder pad also helps differentiate the squad type. The Lieutenant, it's a 40k model, and I think it does a really good job of it. It's well ornamented, but not unreasonably so, I don't think. The hands look reasonably well sculpted. That one looks a little questionable. It looks like a closed fist that they just put the shield on. You can see a gap right there, which is a little interesting that made it. Might just be because of the scale we're looking here, but you can see just a little gap right there. Other than that, I like the model. I really do. It's fairly simple. I imagine this is all painted on, so if you get the generic model, there's not as much detail on it. It doesn't look over-ornamented. I'm probably going to lop these off, these little halo things, mostly because I don't trust them not to break. And my squad commentary is the same thing. The poses are a little meh, but I can deal with that. It's a squad. I'm very interested to note that they look like characters, and I think I might leave the halo on this guy and take him off the squad just to help differentiate them. The bikes, I don't mind the look of the bikes. They're not what I would have expected, but I don't hate them. I think they're perfectly serviceable. They get the job done. I like that they're big and chunky. And I also like that they're not vastly ornamented. Although this design shows up again. What is this design? I want to know. Because it's on everything. Well, yeah, no, it's on these guys. It's right here. This guy's got it. These guys have it. What the heck is this design? Anyway, next up we have this, and I have no idea what this is. It has black armor. That suggests a chaplain, but the sword doesn't. So there's a theory floating around that this might be a new type of character. In the same vein of like the Lord Executioner for Chaos Space Marines is kind of a almost like a duelist character, because the sword suggests a close combat character. I have no idea what this is supposed to I mean, it's obviously an hourglass, but what is it supposed to represent? I have heard a theory floating around that this might be a librarian, and I'm not sure I agree with that. The imagery and the iconography strikes me as chaplain, but this doesn't match anything. So that's actually exciting. This is a potential for a brand new type of character, which is very interesting. Okay. In addition to those, we have two other characters that have been shown off. The guy on the left, I think it's fair to say that's a chaplain. You got the Crozius, you've got a pistol. If you look at the leg here, see the skull with the little filigree up there? See the skull with the little filigree up there? That's why I'm looking at this and going, both of these feel like they belong to the Reclusium, which is the chaplains of Space Marines. I don't think this guy's a chaplain, though. So, Chappie, every box they've done has a captain. I'm assuming this is a captain. It's got a sword. It's got a shield with a skeleton on it. I think this might be the guy from the trailer. There's a captain in the trailer. I think this might be the model representation of it. And it is worth knowing that there's your lieutenant and there's the chaplain on that image. So these images all do flow together and you can see them. Now we get to some of the little more interesting things. These two. So the one on the left is a guy holding a banner. It's got a white helmet. Suggests that it is a Primaris Ancient. The Primaris Ancient is a banner bearer, and it's interesting to note that the only place to get a Primaris Ancient is in the Dark Imperium box, and that box is going away, which is very interesting. That the box is going away. It's the only source for two models, the Gravis Captain and the Primaris Ancient. It kind of makes sense that there would be an Ancient in this box set to fill in that slot. There's no Gravis Captain, although I think this guy's in Gravis armor. You know, I think this probably is an Ancient just to fill that slot. And then to the right, we have a Gravis squad. Gravis, by the way, is a type of armor. You can see it's got the hoses back here, the big chunky legs, kind of hood and extended backpack, with what are very obviously Melta weapons. So this is probably an anti-tank squad. And the fact that it's Melta is, again, noteworthy because Primaris have not had a Melta squad before. So interesting stuff here out of the Space Marines. That is the end of the Space Marines, by the way. We've got Assault Intercessors, which suggests that they're easy to build because the poses match up exactly, while having different basing schemes. While being based differently, you can look at them and see that the bases are different. Interesting to note that the Sergeant in this image has a different head. That could have just been a production change. It could have just been a head swap. It could just be that there actually is a little mohawk here. I kind of see a little bit of something here, maybe. So it might just be that this image is not clear enough or crisp enough for me to see it. Interesting note, pretty much everything, I think everything on this has this little, like, sword thingy here. I'm not sure what that is supposed to be. That's new, probably a new thing. Like they had the Vanguard Space Marines. This is probably a new kind of Primaris element, like an assault shock element, which would be cool, don't get me wrong. Likely Chaplain, Lieutenant, I'm guessing Captain, Veteran Close Combat Squad, bikes, new thing. Possibly a champion character, and it would fit with the idea that this is like a shock assault unit, that this is a like combat chaplain. This is a supporty chaplain. This is I'm going to go kill the enemy commander chaplain. A close-range anti-tank squad in Gravis armor in a new Ancient kit, which makes sense because the Ancient's going away with Dark Vengeance, or Dark Imperium. Alright, everybody ready for the next image? New Necron Warriors are coming. They announced this. I'm assuming it's a full kit. They showed off they showed off 5 of them. And given the fact that the Assault Intercessors might be a box set, I'm curious to know if they actually will come out with a new Necron Warrior kit. I mean, they will eventually, because they can't have a generic troop box in a box like that, but I want to see what the rest of it looks like, because I'm a little bit curious, because I think this might be an easy build. If the Assault Intercessor previously is an easy build, I think there's a good chance this is easy build. A couple noteworthy things about it. First off, you'll notice that the green plastic rod on the gun is gone. That is a good thing, in my opinion, because it made Necron painting weird. I like the overall redesign of more robot zombie. In fact, there's actually a few of these that they have floating around that have like innards and like components hanging out from them. My only concern is how well will this mesh with the existing Necron designs like the Praetorians and things like that have a very clean, almost Egyptian look to them. So I'll be curious to see how that goes. I think you can paint them to get that effect, but, you know, I've got to see it. They did mention that there's a new weapon coming in this box called a Gauss Reaper, which is a shorter range, harder hitting version of the baseline Gauss Flare. And then, hold on kids, we got the same image for the Necrons. So right off the bat, it looks like there's 2 groups of 10 warriors. And it looks like they have mixed weapons, which is interesting. So there's a group here, and there's a group here. This looks like a character with some bodyguards, because you can see this thing in a cloak right here. This is obviously a character. This is probably some kind of weapon support platform. This might be another character, although it kind of looks like one of these support bots. Close combat unit, the 3-legged things. This looks like, if you saw the trailer, this looks like what was chasing the sister. And then this thing at the very end here, at the top, looks like the thing at the very end of the trailer. So this is consistent with what we saw with the Necron stuff. The completely new stuff is, I'm not sure what this thing is, and then this whole region in here in the middle. Again, obviously there's some scarabs down here. Those look like new scarabs. Pretty sure those are new scarabs. You've got your warriors. What I'm very interested is, what's this thing here? What's going on right here? Is it just it doesn't look like a warrior, it looks bigger. So I'm wondering if there's some other part of this image that is missing. This might be a character. Maybe it just is a warrior in a really weird pose. Oh, it doesn't look like it. There's a lot of question marks here. Unlike the Space Marines, there's not a lot to go off of for comparison purposes. So everything here is pure speculation. But the rumor is this, combined with this, is the new 2-player box set. And that would be a very big box set, and that's exciting. It also implies it's going to be very expensive. I know locally, if this is a box set, I've already split it with somebody. But, we'll see. The other image I want to bring up, and I'm going to apologize in advance, how horrifically blurry this is. Because it's bad. It's bad. So I'm going to go through some stuff here. I want to point out a couple of things here. First off, I think this is a new monolith. It's got this kind of energy ball here. The previous monolith has a crystal. Warriors. This, right here, looks like this thing. You've got the walker things. Looks look like those. I think there's the tower thing, but this, and I think maybe this. No, I think that's the walker thing. No, I think it's different. There's these 2 things over here. I'm curious about this. Yeah, this looks different. Looks like a new monolith. That looks like a Satan. And then whatever this thing is, that might be the Silent King model, because you kind of got this thing up here. It looks like the wailing head that they showed. It's heavily implied that there's going to be like a high-level Necron commander, like the Silent King, come up, basically the ruler of the Necrons, and that might be him. And if so, that's a really cool-looking model. I like that. If this is a new monolith, I quite like it. The monolith model is super old and not that good. I might have to get one of those just to paint it. I like these walker things. Like I don't mind the Necrons, but this new style really kind of appeals to me. I like the C'tan stuff. It doesn't feel quite like it fits, but you know, I like I like what I'm seeing here. One thing I'll give GW is they make good models. But anyway, that's the summary of what's kind of been shown around here. I was not able to find renders or close-ups of the Necron stuff. Well, by the time I made this video, unlike the Space Marines, where I was able to find some pretty close-up shots. So, with that, guys, have a good one. I will catch you later.
Hey, this is Dave. If you like what we're doing here at What Game Now, go ahead and click on one of the videos which should be on either side of me, or click right in the middle and go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the bell once you subscribe so that you know when we have new videos. Please go ahead and share us with your friends. Let everybody know that we're here. Thank you for watching, and thank you for all of our subscribers already. And we look forward to bringing you more content every chance that we get.